What's the very first thing you should do if your life partner passes away before you? Most people don't have a clear answer, and when that moment arrives, it usually comes with a wave of pain, confusion, and difficult decisions. Decisions you never imagined having to face alone. The truth is, it doesn't matter how strong your relationship was or how many years you spent together. The death of a spouse changes everything. It shakes the ground beneath you, silences the house in your heart, and throws a long to-do list on your shoulders at a time when just getting out of bed feels impossible. But this video isn't about paperwork or what to say at the funeral. It's about you. It's about what you should do first for yourself, so you can emotionally and practically survive this incredibly delicate time. In those first waves of grief, there are 6 essential steps that can help you stay on your feet during one of the most painful chapters of life. They're not cold rules or distant advice. They're compassionate actions drawn from real-life experience and from the understanding that grief doesn't come with a manual. Each of these 6 steps was discovered by people just like you who walked through the pain of loss and found ways to care for themselves and begin to rebuild. And while none of them will take away the hurt, they can offer a sense of steadiness when everything around you feels like it's falling apart. If your spouse passes away before you, and may that day still be far off, it's important to know what to do. Not just to survive, but eventually to find a new way to live with meaning. Stick with me to the end because step 6 is something few people think about, but it could completely shift how you walk through this part of life. Let's begin. Step 1. Feel before you try to fix anything. When your life partner passes, the world around you doesn't just go quiet, it goes numb. The routines you shared, the conversations that gave each day its rhythm, even the sound of footsteps from the next room, all of it disappears in an instant. And the silence that's left behind, it's not just around you, it settles inside your chest, like a weight you can't quite explain. In the first few days, it's common to want to dive into the logistics, paperwork, phone calls, organizing whatever needs to be handled. Anything to keep yourself busy enough to not feel the full weight of the loss. But here's a truth that matters. Before you do anything else, give yourself permission to feel. Feeling doesn't mean falling apart completely. It means acknowledging your pain with compassion. It means allowing yourself to grieve without guilt, without rushing, and without worrying about what others think. Because there is no right way to grieve. There's no deadline for when the tears should stop or when the bed should feel less empty. What matters most in those early days is not stuffing your emotions down so far that they harden, because pain you ignore doesn't disappear. It waits. And when it returns, it usually hits harder, messier, and more deeply. A lot of people believe that showing emotion is a sign of weakness, especially after a loss. You'll hear things like, "I have to stay strong for the kids," or "He wouldn't want to see me cry." But strength isn't about swallowing your sadness so others don't feel uncomfortable. Real strength is in honoring the depth of your love and the depth of your loss. Think of Evelyn, an 81-year-old woman who lost her husband after 52 years together. In the first week, she stayed busy, cleaned closets, answered calls, told everyone she was fine. But at night, she would stare at his empty chair. Not because she missed the conversation, but because she was pretending she didn't. When she finally allowed herself to cry, really cry, something shifted. The pain didn't vanish, but she could breathe again. For the first time, she felt alive within the pain, and that's when the healing began. You are not broken because you're grieving. You're not weak because you can't go a full day without tears. Grief isn't something you get over. It's something you carry. And if you don't let yourself face it honestly, it can sneak out in other ways, through anger, sleeplessness, numbness, or even illness. So if your spouse passes before you, the very first thing to do is stop. Sit with the pain. Even if it hurts, let yourself cry. Talk about them. Admit that nothing makes much sense right now, and that's okay. You don't need a plan today. You don't need to seem strong all the time. You just need to feel. Because real healing always starts with honesty, and there's nothing more honest than saying, "This hurts." Step 2. Reach out. As soon as you can, in the moments and days right after losing your partner, isolation can creep in faster than you'd expect. 1 minute, the phone is ringing. There are texts, neighbors dropping off food, people offering help. The next, the house goes quiet, the calls stop, the door stays shut. And if you're not careful, that silence can grow into a deep, heavy loneliness. That's why one of the most important things you can do early on is reach out, before that loneliness starts to settle in. And no, this isn't about big conversations or pouring your heart out. You don't even need to explain how you're feeling. Just let the people around you know that you're still here and that you still need them. Reaching out doesn't mean opening up to everyone or welcoming visitors when you're not ready. It simply means not waiting for others to make the first move, because even the people who love you the most may not know what to do. They hesitate, not because they don't care, but because they're afraid of saying the wrong thing or intruding on your grief. Taking just one small step, answering a text, picking up the phone, replying to a "How are you doing?" can build a protective wall between you and the kind of loneliness that wears you down from the inside. Social isolation is one of the most dangerous effects of grief. It doesn't just hurt emotionally, it messes with your sleep, your blood pressure, your immune system, your focus, even your memory. And it does it all quietly while you're just trying to get through the day. Take Mr. Joe, for example. A 77-year-old man who lost his wife after a long illness. In the first few days, his friends called almost every day, but he let the phone ring and go to voicemail. He told himself he just didn't have the energy to talk, didn't want to go over the story again or pretend to be okay. Little by little, the calls stopped coming. It wasn't until a neighbor knocked on his door weeks later that he realized how far he'd been slipping, without even noticing. That's when Mr. Joe made a small promise to himself. 1 phone call a day, just one real conversation, nothing more. That tiny habit became something bigger. It became a lifeline, because grief tries to convince you that you're alone. But connection reminds you that you're not. And don't worry if you're not ready to talk about the loss just yet. Talk about a happy memory, the weather, or even a funny story from years ago. What matters most is the presence. Knowing there's someone on the other side of the line, or the other side of the table, that's what makes the difference. If you don't have family nearby, or you're afraid of being a burden, know that many communities offer grief support groups, senior centers, or safe spaces where kind-hearted people are willing to sit, listen, talk, or just be there. Reaching out isn't weakness. It's a conscious decision not to carry the weight of your grief alone. The first days after a loss are tough, not just emotionally, but physically too. Your body is under stress, your mind is foggy, and your heart is hurting. Having people around, even in small ways, is like emotional scaffolding. It helps keep you standing until you can find your balance again. If this message is resonating with you, drop a number 2 in the comments below, just so I know you're still with me. And if you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, take a second to click that button and turn on notifications. Your support helps us keep creating thoughtful, caring content to inform, comfort, and walk alongside you. Ready to keep going? Step 3. The urgency of gathering. Essential documents. When you lose someone you love, especially a life partner, everything inside you just wants the world to stop. But sadly, it doesn't. The bills keep coming, deadlines pop up, and certain decisions have to be made, even when your heart is still in pieces. That's why one of the most important things you can do, gently and with as much care as possible, is to locate and organize the key documents related to your spouse's life. This isn't cold. It isn't heartless. It's necessary. You're going to need the will, insurance policies, bank information, your marriage certificate, the death certificate, and anything connected to property, pensions, or public benefits. The hard part is, you have to do this while your mind is exhausted and your heart is grieving. So many people either put it off because it feels overwhelming or rush through it on autopilot. But both paths can lead to mistakes, and mistakes at this point can make the next few weeks even harder than they already are. The truth is, some deadlines won't wait. You may need to file a life insurance claim right away. Notify Social Security. Update utility bills, phone accounts, or banking access. And if something falls through the cracks, it can impact your finances at a time when the last thing you need is more stress. Take the story of Miss Elsa, a 79-year-old woman who lost her husband Tony unexpectedly. For their entire marriage, he was the one who handled the paperwork, bills, insurance, accounts. When he passed, she had no idea where anything was. Weeks went by before she found the life insurance policy, ironically tucked away in a folder full of old recipes. By then, she'd already used her own savings to cover expenses that the policy could have taken care of. It wasn't neglect. It was grief clouding her ability to think clearly. If you don't feel strong enough to handle this alone, ask someone you trust to be with you. A family member, a close friend, or even a professional. Having someone by your side can help you. Stay calm and make sure nothing gets missed. Even a simple checklist, what you found, what's still needed, can bring a sense of control to an overwhelming moment. If you can, keep everything in one place. A folder, a binder, a box, somewhere, easy to access. Make copies of the most important documents. Write down account numbers, passwords, emergency contacts, anything someone else might need if they had to step in on your behalf. Grief isn't just emotional pain, it's also a practical process, full of details and responsibilities. And that's where many people feel caught off guard. But this step, as tough as it is also a form of love. It's a way of caring for what remains, of honoring what you built together, of making sure nothing important is lost or forgotten. And here's an important reminder. You don't have to do it all at once, but you do need to start. And sometimes, just taking that first small step, even with a heavy heart, can bring a little order back into a world that feels upside down. Step 4. The discipline of protecting your health. The pain of loss doesn't just affect the heart, it affects the whole body. In the days and weeks following the death of someone you love, taking care of yourself may feel like the last thing that matters. Eating becomes a small detail. Sleep disappears. The desire to get out of bed fades, and even simple tasks like taking a shower or brushing your teeth may feel pointless. But it's exactly at this moment that your body needs care the most. When your routine is shattered by such deep loss, the impact isn't just emotional, it's physical too. Many widows and widowers, especially in their senior years, experience symptoms like sudden weight loss, fatigue, stomach issues, chest pains, memory lapses. And it's not because they're sick, it's the body trying to cope with the pain. This prolonged stress affects the immune system, raises blood pressure, disrupts hormones, and can even worsen existing health problems. The pain is real, and what it does to the body is real too. That's why even if everything inside you is telling you otherwise, it's crucial to take care of the basics. Eat something nutritious at regular intervals, even if it's just a fruit, a light soup, or a simple meal. Move your body gently. A short walk outside or a few stretches in your living room can make a difference. Try to go to bed at the same time each night, even if sleep is slow to come. These small gestures aren't luxuries. They're survival gestures. Remember Miss Marlene, 84 years old? She lost her partner of over 60 years. In the following weeks, she was so disoriented that she forgot to take her blood pressure medication and went days without eating properly. Her body couldn't handle it, and she even fainted in the supermarket. Her daughter then realized it wasn't just sadness. It was her body crying out for help. From that point on, they created a simple routine with set times for meals, hydration, medications, and even a journal to track how she was feeling. Slowly, strength returned. Her mind cleared, and she began to find her balance again. There's a phrase used by those who work with grief that goes, "When you don't know what to do, take care of the animal in you. Feed it, give it water, let it rest. Move your body, even if slowly, because your body is trying to recover, and it needs your help. You're not pretending to be okay. You're building your well-being back, step by step, decision by decision. And if you feel like something's off, even if it seems minor, see your doctor. Even if you think it's just stress, a checkup, a conversation can bring stability and remind you of something essential. You're still here. And you still deserve care. Taking care of yourself isn't about moving on. It's not about forgetting. It's a deep way of honoring the one you lost, without losing yourself in the pain. Step 6. The quiet work of rebuilding your identity. When we lose a spouse, the emptiness we feel isn't just about their absence. It's also about the absence of who we were beside them. You were part of a pair, a partnership with shared routines, plans, gestures, even shared silences. Maybe you were Carlos and Lucia, or simply us. But now that us no longer exists, and that changes everything. This shift goes far beyond a title. It reaches the roots of who you believe yourself to be. At first, you might not even notice it. Your mind is busy with paperwork, visits, appointments. But with time, the silence starts to ask a difficult question. Who am I now? Most people aren't prepared for that question. After all, life was built over years or even decades, based on a shared routine. Meals, decisions, goals, and even those little jokes only the two of you understood. Without that presence, your role changes. You're no longer the husband or wife in the way you used to be. And let's be clear, this doesn't mean the love is gone. The love remains. But the structure where that love lived has changed. This part of grief is rarely talked about, but it's one of the deepest, the silent rebuilding of your identity. Not as a replacement, but as a continuation, an evolution. It's about giving yourself permission to ask, what brings me peace now? What feels good to me today? How do I want to live the years ahead, even if they look different from what I once imagined? Let's remember Miss Irene, 82 years old, who became a widow after 55 years of marriage. In the beginning, she couldn't bring herself to change anything at home. His slippers stayed by the door, his coffee mug on the counter. But months later, something began to shift. Irene started painting again, a hobby she hadn't touched since her youth, and it wasn't to stay busy. It was to reconnect with a part of herself that had been asleep. That doesn't take away from the love she had for her husband. On the contrary, it shows she's still alive, and that continuing to live is also a way to honor the story they built. Together, you have that same permission to change, to grow, to discover a new version of yourself. Because rebuilding your identity isn't betrayal. It's an act of courage, a way of honoring the past while stepping into the future with intention. Maybe that means joining a new group, traveling to that place you always dreamed of, reading a different kind of book, making new friends, or simply learning to enjoy your own company. None of these things replace love, but each one is an answer to the life that is still calling you. And no, you don't have to figure it all out right now. Your new identity after loss doesn't arrive all at once. It's built slowly, step by step. One small curiosity at a time. Every new habit is a piece of the story you're still writing. You are not only who you were with your partner, you are also who you are becoming now, and this new version of you deserves just as much care, love, and respect as the one before. If you've made it this far and this message touched your heart, type Step 6 in the comments, so I know you're with me on this journey. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, take a second to do that and turn on notifications. Your support helps us keep creating content with care and purpose. Before we close, remember this. Losing a spouse is one of life's deepest wounds. It doesn't just take the person you loved. It takes the sound of your home, the rhythm of your days, the comfort of being understood without saying a word. And no words, no matter how beautiful, can completely fill that space. But still, it's possible to live. Not like before, but with new steps. With conscious choices. With small actions that over time help you make it through the storm. These 6 steps we've shared throughout this video are not rules, they're anchors, supports, and you don't have to get them all right. You just have to keep going, at your own pace, in your own way. You are not alone. Many have walked and are still walking this path, and each one, just like you, is learning to live again with a heart that still loves and still misses. Pain doesn't end. Your story. It begins a new chapter. One you didn't plan for, but one that is still yours to write. And in this new chapter, there can still be healing, there can still be love, there can still be life. If this message touched your heart or helped you in any way, please give this video a like. It lets us know we're on the right track. And if you haven't yet, click the subscribe button and activate the bell to receive our next videos. Here at Health and Vigor, We believe that compassionate information can change lives, especially during life's hardest moments. With your support, we can reach more people who are also in need of warmth and guidance. Thank you so much for staying with us until the end, and we'll see you in the next video. Health and vigor, healing every kind of pain.